Hey, you clicked on my video. Appreciate it. Now be sure to like the video and subscribe to the page. Long enough to cover the subject and short enough to keep it interesting. Welcome to Outta My League. I'm Nick Diaz. Don't take anything for granted. See, all we've been talking about this fall camp is really the questions and the concerns that LSU fans have about this team. And the reason is because fear and uncertainty draw more attention than safety and assurance. It's natural. Everybody does it. It's just kind of how we're built. But like with quarterback and offensive line, there's questions about quarterback and there's fears about the offensive line still. So that's where all of our attention has been. But now that we've seen a few practices from spring and we're almost done with fall camp, I think we're starting to get a sense of just how great this LSU defense is going to be this season. So LSU's defensive coordinator, Matt House, spoke to the media today. And one of the reasons why I think, and many people also agree with me, that LSU will be competitive in every game this season is because of their defense and specifically their defensive line and how that helps every other position on the field. Whatever concerns you have about linebacker or defensive back, having a great defensive line and having a great pass rush alleviates those fears and concerns, especially when you have one guy up the middle that can wreak havoc like Maason Smith.
The one thing that you can't, when you have any type of dominant defensive lineman, it covers up for mistakes. And it covers up for mistakes that you make as a play caller, right? Great players sometimes overcome coaching, right? And he's a guy, along with some other ones, that being dominant up front helps you. And anytime you can change the line of scrimmage, that's disruptive to the offense. And not just in the pass game. We get so caught up in defensive linemen applying pressure to the quarterback. And although that's incredibly important, in college football it still comes down to whipping the guy across from you in the run game.
So I know people are worried about the starting center position, all right? Dellinger's missing some snaps, and look, it's my biggest concern right now. But a lot of practice reports that I've read said that part of those bad snaps are just from the simple fact that he's going up against Maason Smith, and no one can block him. No one on the team, especially not a first-time center who's just getting comfortable with the position. I'm still worried about center, but I think also some of it is being overblown. And honestly, another thing I want to point out about Maason Smith is that because of today's offenses, they're getting the ball out so quickly. It's sort of a no-huddle, quick passing game, RPO kind of stuff, that as a result, the inside pass rusher has become more valuable than the outside pass rusher. Even though B.J. Ojulari may go, maybe the highest pick on defense this year, for LSU, he's an outside pass rusher. Those are still valuable, but not necessarily as much as they used to be. I think Maason Smith arguably is the most valuable player for LSU's defense. So yeah, this team potentially has 3 future first-rounders in B.J. Ojulari, Maason Smith, and Jaquelin Roy, and a potential second-rounder in Ali Gay on the front line. That, along with the safety position, nickel safety, are probably the 2 biggest reassurances LSU fans have on this defense. But the 2 positions on defense that have the biggest questions and concerns are probably linebacker depth and cornerback. Now, Matt House says that linebacker depth has developed well into fall camp, but he was asked about why Micah Baskerville, who last year was LSU's second leading tackler, is running with the 2s and the 3s and not with the first team, not only in spring, but now deep into fall camp.
Yeah, I think Micah's doing a good job in camp, and we just got to keep pressing. The one thing I love about Micah is he's kind of the jack. He can play all 3 spots. He's a very intelligent linebacker. He's in the right spots. Just need to keep seeing him apply the physical part of the game, which he's doing a good job growing from there.
Look, maybe it's just as simple as Greg Penn and Mike Jones just passed up Micah Baskerville on the depth chart, and they've just looked better, and they've practiced better, and so they're starting. I don't know. Maybe it's that simple. I don't really expect Matt House or any coach to throw a guy under the bus and give you the real reason, but maybe it's just that simple. Who knows? Either way, I'm not concerned about linebacker depth as much as I was for a variety of reasons. And another one is LSU's top signee this past recruiting cycle, Harold Perkins. He's already pushing up to second string despite showing up to campus later after spring deep into summer. Now that's pretty impressive considering that a young linebacker who came in late, and the linebacker position is so important when it comes to experience and communication, that he's already moved up this quickly.
Yeah, Harold, like you just said, his speed and his athleticism flash. I absolutely love how Harold approaches the game. I love how Harold wants to be corrected. With that being said, it's, I got to look at my practice script, but it's practice 13 for him. So every day is a new learning experience, you can imagine. He's seen things that he hasn't seen before. He's being exposed to different things. So it's definitely been a learning process for Harold.
And because of that, I expect Harold Perkins to be rotating in and out with the starters, somewhere around mid-season. But the biggest story of fall camp, maybe even the biggest moment, depending on how you look at it, of fall camp, has been the surprising emergence of the McNeese State grad transfer, Colby Richardson. He's still running with the starters opposite of Jarek Bernard-Converse from Oklahoma State, who was first team, all Big 12, so that's no surprise, but he's running opposite with him. Now, Matt House did make it clear that cornerback is still very much an ongoing competition because Sevyn Banks is still not quite a full go yet, and Mekhi Gardner is still in it as well. But Matt House explained why Colby Richardson has come out of nowhere.
I love his approach every day. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's going to take advantage of every opportunity LSU gives you away from the football field. I love the way he approaches nutrition. I love the way he approaches training. I love the way he takes care of his body in the training room. And then when you go out on the field, all right, those habits show. He's a guy that when given opportunities, he takes advantage of it. And I'm so pleased he's here. And aside from that, the one thing off the field, I think he brings us a great presence. He's a great teammate.
See, there was a lot of talk about weight room and nutrition in that clip. Well, Colby Richardson has put on 25 pounds of muscle since getting to campus this summer. That's why he's been able to shine and step up, because he's physically gotten bigger and is able to compete with these SEC wide receivers. So let me say this about Colby Richardson. I did this analogy in my Saints episode today. You can go back and listen to it. It's about Deshaun Watson and the Saints camp versus the Green Bay Packers. And it's called the camp paradox. Well, if you're seeing a defense dominating an offense or an offense dominating a defense, well, is the defense dominating because they're that good or because the offense is just that bad, or vice versa? It's the camp paradox that we all have to live with until we start playing games. But the rule that I use to solve it is, what do we know is true? What do we know is true? What do we know for a fact? Well, we know Kayshon Boutte is arguably the best wide receiver in college football. And we know he's 100% healthy and he's in the best shape of his life from all reports. Well, the practice reports are saying that Colby Richardson is going up against Boutte and more than holding his own every single day in practice, even beating him one-on-one over and over and over again. Now, Kayshon Boutte has obviously his fair share of wins, but that's telling. Look, half of the NFL is undrafted, all right? Because there are plenty of guys who are late bloomers in the game of football, especially in the game of football. Half the league is undrafted. Now, Colby Richardson gaining 25 pounds and then all of a sudden being able to compete against SEC wide receivers, well, that makes sense. Now, I've gone from concerned, like, okay, your McNeese State grad transfer is a starter. I went from concerned to, well, now I'm just intrigued. Now I'm intrigued to watch Colby Richardson in this defense. Thanks for listening to Out of My League. If you like what you heard, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Or follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok in the description link below.